Welcome to The Topic, where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. I'm Dr. Amy Tan. I'm Dean for English and Communication. We're here every Thursday afternoon when HCC is in session, live at 2 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. Follow us on social media at Houston Community College District and watch us on HCC TV via your local cable provider. I always argue about how to pronounce that word. Today's topic is very close to my heart. We're highlighting some of the exciting offerings and reviewing the latest developments in my division, English and Communications. We're going to start off with Dr. Erica Stevens to learn about HCC's literature classes. Welcome to the show. Erica, how are you?
I'm great, Dr. Tan. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's so good to be here with you and to get to talk about literature. It's such a fun topic, and we're both enthusiastic about it. Why should other people be enthusiastic about literature? What makes literature so important right now?
Very enthusiastic. I forgot to wear my Moby Dick pen. I was going to wear it. Anyhow, I believe that there's perhaps a misconception about studying literature today, that some people might see it as a quote unquote useless or almost frivolous topic or outdated topic. Maybe it won't get you a job the way a degree in engineering or computer science might. That's one of the misconceptions. Ironically, I think what's happening because of the rise of AI in our culture is that it's actually creating an employment need for those with creative and what are sometimes called soft skills, but I think they're pretty rigorous and intense skills, really, skills of analysis and interpretation and creativity. And those are the skills that are developed in an English class, in a class that focuses on literature. I was just actually scanning job postings for AI prompt engineers the other day and found that those job descriptions require taste and creativity and skills of evaluation to look at the output of the AI and judge its value, judge its accuracy by doing further research. So, again, those are the skills that people practice in a literature class. But beyond job prospects, which we care about, I think that the study of literature helps us to lead fuller, more beautiful lives. It gives us other things to think about in times of stress and maybe hopelessness, and maybe even gives us tools for survival in those times. It doesn't just teach us facts about the world, but ways of approaching those facts and thinking through those facts and those experiences. I think that literature is the best combination of difficulty and beauty. And we, including our students, should desperately want to cultivate our appetite for both of those things.
Absolutely. You know that I agree. And that, sometimes we talk about our favorite characters almost as if they're real people and we are connecting with them on a human level. And also I think, with the AI, we know that it's biased because of the way that it's programmed. And so, we have to be wary of what's coming from AI. And this is one way to keep ourselves informed and educated. Well, what kinds of classes does HCC offer, and what can students expect?
So in the English department, the classes that most students will take will be English 1301 and possibly English 1302. Those are really writing focused classes, but especially in my English 1302 class, and I think a few of my colleagues as well, that's when we start to bring in more reading, more literature. And for me, I use 1302 as a chance to research about the literature and text that we read. So for example, I taught Herman Melville's Bartleby in a unit about work and labor. We've already kind of talked about that with the AI conversation. We talked about AI in that unit as well. And then that actually took us to a longer history of labor in the US, and we read Octavia Butler's Kindred, which is a science fiction story about a woman that travels back in time to slavery. So we digest some really complex topics, and students are able to research questions that come up through their reading of this literature. I also want to do a personal pitch for Mexican American literature, which is English 2351, and that's offered online and in person. It's a very popular course online, which is great. And right now, and often throughout history, classes like that, ethnic studies classes, have been subject to scrutiny and have been long fought for. And so my philosophy is, if people are really concerned about what students might be learning in those classes, maybe it's something really special. And I think that there's probably a reason that students might want to check out some of the Mexican American literature and see what it has to say. We also teach at HCC British literature, American literature, and a class called Forms of Literature, which can really range in topics. So we have a lot of horror fans in our department. So we have a couple different classes, the Forms of Literature class that runs as a horror fiction and movies class. Some people really like The Shining, apparently, and Stephen King. But yeah, those are some great options that we offer to students.
Yeah, so many options, and I know that we the state of Texas closed the genre courses. So if you wanted to take a class on just fiction or just poetry or just drama, you might find it in a Forms of Lit course. But what other classes at HCC feature literature?
So as I was saying, you might find it in an English 1302 course, probably in an English 1301 class sometimes as well. We also have been doing a lot of work with a new program called Human Horizons, which was started by some professors in the philosophy department and working with the humanities department, the English department. Classes can be tagged as Human Horizons, and that is really a discussion-based class for students who want to investigate these really big philosophical, moral, aesthetic questions through literature. We all got together as a team of faculty and created our own canon, really, our own list of texts that we call transformative texts, and we teach from that list. So that's a really exciting place to find discussions about literature. But again, these Forms of Literature classes, I actually asked some of my colleagues what their classes are like and what they've been teaching recently. And I want to just shout out a few names here. Michael Trower teaches Frankenstein in British literature and uses that as a way for students to research biotech fields of transhumanism. So really bringing it to the current day. He also teaches literature of Houston, which I think some people might think, what's the literature of Houston? And ask students to think about Houston as a character and how it's developed through metaphor, through setting, etc.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, such wonderful examples. And I hope students will hear those names and go look for those professors and find those classes. But we're out of time. And so I just want to, I know it was great seeing you. Thanks for coming and talking to us about literature. And we want to remind students that the benefit to them in taking a literature course is it does fulfill one of the core categories. So talk to your advisor about it, talk to your favorite English teacher about it. Your professors are happy to help you find a great class. So thank you, Erica Stevens, for joining us. And when we come back, we will explore how virtual reality can improve your communication skills.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
For more than a year, we have kept you informed with more than 500 remote episodes. But now we're back, bigger and better with more news and more guests. Join us live every weekday at 10 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube, and on HCC TV at noon and 5 p.m. You can watch from anywhere. We go where you go.
Welcome back to the topic. We're exploring offerings in English and communication. Today, presentation and communication skills are vital no matter what career path you choose. We're joined today by Professor James Duvall, who is our program coordinator for the speech and communications and just speech and just speech. Just speech. I'm going to get this right. He's our program coordinator for speech. And we are thrilled to hear about the way that he has been using a VR tool to help students grow. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you could be here and in the studio.
Face to face.
Yes, yes, we will make it happen. So first of all, tell us what Ovation VR is.
Ovation VR is a VR, but it doesn't have to be specifically VR. They also have a desktop version to allow students to practice their presentation and public speaking skills. They offer different venues, different avatars, and of course, AI is everywhere, as we both know. Also utilizes AI as far as analyzing the students' use of words, timing, and shockingly, nonverbal skills.
Well, and it's really fantastic. I've seen it.
Mhm.
So it kind of gamifies a little bit, right? Because it'll
really
give
does.
it'll give you like a score and you can try to improve your score.
Trying to improve your score, trying to bring down your filler words, trying to move more, essentially trying not to be the robot that you're talking to.
And it puts you like you're in the setting, right? So you can be in a theater or you can be in a boardroom.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the big things about the VR apparatus that it has is for a lot of people, even still today, seeing is believing. And so when you put the headset on, you at some point within about the 2 minute mark, you believe that you're there. And so people start to act like they're there through that belief. And so it allows the people to feel that fire in a virtual way when it comes to public speaking. By fire, I mean the anxiety, sometimes that heart rate that comes up. And it's one of the best ways to help deal with anxiety because it's not all the time we can have people in front of us.
It's a
Practice.
wonderful way to get that practice in. And so give us a couple of reasons why HTC wanted to adopt.
Well, when it comes to adoption, of course, here we love innovation. We like to try new technologies and see how we can integrate them into our teaching schedules. And this turns out to be one of the better ones that we decided to go with because of how well the students really took to the application. And going inside the VR, I've had a student who spent 15 minutes arguing with an AI avatar.
Okay.
I loved it.
Well, did that benefit the student, or what are the benefits of this tool for students?
I would definitely say there's a couple. One is you don't have people every day. You can ask, hey, can you sit in front of me for about 10 to 15 minutes and I do a speech for you? It's a hard thing to pull with students and to do it multiple times at the same time to find that kind of audience member. With this, you could do it at any time in any place. And also at the same time, as you start to practice, because people need to practice, it helps to bring down the anxiety level that people have because, practice doesn't always make perfect, but it does help you to manage the anxieties that people have as they do this sort of thing.
What? I'm sorry. You're supposed to practice your speech before I know.
I couldn't believe it either.
Wow.
Cool.
So have other faculty and other departments at HTC gotten into the use of Ovation?
Oh, yes. So when me and Dr. Stagg took a class there, over at the VR lab at Central, by the way, check it out. Pretty cool stuff. It turns out that he had a class before that did sort of interview style questions. So it's not just for public speaking and presentation skills. It does a really good job to help throw the curveball questions when it comes to interviews, when it comes to talking to patients. So there's multiple ways to use this apparatus.
So benefits other programs,
yes.
Students who are learning communication skills as part of the career path that they've chosen, not just in communications.
Yes.
And also faculty. I know one of the things that I always struggle with is the filler word. We all know. I know you're shocked, but we all have our filler words. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's one of the cool things about using AI. Again, one of the things I will always stress, AI does a really good job when it comes to some analysis, but it doesn't get nuance, and development is still always needed, as you talked about with your previous guest. You still need that human factor, but this is just a great tool to practice with in order to see how often you're looking at different audience members, how many times you're saying ums or uhs, and how often you're using your hands, jazz hands, to as you're giving the speech.
Right, because we know gestures are and facial expression and it's all part of
Oh,
the
totally.
the speech curriculum.
I know. This is why we love teaching this sort of thing. It's all part of development, and we have a really good tool, not just for the speech comm, but also for other departments to use as well, if they want to have students to prepare their speeches and presentations in front of others.
So we're kind of running out of time, but I want to ask both these questions. So I'm going to throw them at you together.
Oh, go
So
for it.
what have been some student reactions to the technology, and where are you going with this? What's the future goal?
I would say that it's been pretty positive so far. There's always some hiccups, only because people who've never used VR before, so they had to acclimate to it. And they like the novelty aspect of it as well, because, it's VR. But they also see the certain elements that they can work on as well. And what was the second question?
Where are you taking this? What's your future goals? What's your plan?
Hopefully we can have other programs to check this out, see how they can use it as part of their classroom as a tool to help people with their presentation skills and to see where they are in that. Does a good job in analysis. But again, it's always about the nuance that the humans bring.
Yes, I mean, I think that we need to make that clear, right? This is a wonderful tool. It's been a great addition, and we can see how this can certainly benefit students in all of our programs, and particularly in our speech and public speaking classes. And our faculty can go and use it and our leaders can go and use it to help develop their skills. They can get in some time in the lab.
Yes, come on through, check it out, go into the VR for a little bit and test it out.
And also, it doesn't replace that mentor or that really good friend who will sit and listen to your speech for 10 or 15 minutes.
And they will love you. They will love you.
Well, James, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come in
Thank you.
and share all this information with
I
us.
really appreciate this time with you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been great seeing you. And we will be right back when we return. All signs point to more innovation at HCC.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Welcome back to the topic. We're exploring offerings in the English and Communication Division. HCC is so proud of its thriving ASL program, and I'm pleased that Roxann Barrera-Coffman can join us today. She's the professor of ASL and interpreting and transliterating, and she's here to talk to us about a very special event we had that she was really behind. She was the person behind the scenes. She organized it all, and it was her idea. And I know she had some help, but we're so pleased to have her join us to talk about a very special sign language competition. Welcome to the show, Roxann.
Hi, Dr. Tan. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so great to see you. And I know that you have been to talk a little bit. I know you were on Up to the Minute to talk about this and promote it. But we're just so excited to hear about how it went. But before we get to that, what is the purpose and structure of hosting a sign language competition at HTC?
So we were on Up to the Minute a few weeks ago with one of the winners. And really the goal of the sign language competition was to empower and motivate the students to sort of show off their skills, right? And so, when we come to school, when we come to classes, it's all about the grades. And that bothers me sometimes, because really there's real life application to what we're doing. We're training future sign language interpreters, deaf education teachers, ASL teachers. And so this was a great way to have the students involved in showing off what they know, and also to have the deaf community and ASL members of the deaf community come to HSC and see what we're doing, see the future students that we're growing. And we got really great feedback from people in the community that came out to us.
Yeah, I was so pleased to be there for a little part of the day and to see the community. And I'm always so excited when I get to come to events. And what struck me is it was kind of a different group. Like I'm used to seeing certain people who come out for our International Week of the Deaf, but this was a different group, and it was wonderful to meet more people in the community. And it was really lovely the way you incorporated community members in the judging, and it was beautiful to see how the students supported each other and were excited for each other as they moved on to the next round. So you in our sign language courses, we use a course material called True Way ASL. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, so I have been very privileged. I've been an ASL teacher before in the high schools, and I've taught all of the ASL curriculums that there is to teach, right? So the thing that I love about True Way ASL is that it's a great balance of expressive skills, which is our students showing how to articulate their thoughts and their opinions, and receptive skills. So they have to watch deaf people and understand what they're seeing and what the deaf person is saying, which you would think it would be easy. You think it's American Sign Language is English, so you think it's like English structure, but it's not. It's the way one person describes it is like a puzzle piece, and the person will give you a sign, but that puzzle doesn't become complete until they're done signing. So it's complicated, but I love True Way ASL because it's a great balance of receptive and expressive skills, and it's real world. A lot of their videos are modern, updated videos, unlike the other curriculums, which are also very good, but they're very old videos. And what I like about it, it is not this like straight on type of aspect, which I grew up with that. And so I grew up in a college course where everything was signed so articulately beautiful. But in this one, they're just like looking at each other and they're signing down here, and it's like very relaxed, which I think prepares our students better. And a lot of people that have come to HTC as speakers or visitors during Deaf Awareness Week, a lot of them have mentioned to me on several different occasions that our students' receptive skills are top notch. And I just love hearing that.
Oh, I love hearing that too. And I really appreciate the emphasis on the real world experience. And I think the sign language competition also created that real world experience for them. And I know True Way, you've worked really hard. The faculty have worked really hard to bring the cost down. And I know that is a course material that goes over the curriculum. And so it's not like you're buying a book for $200 right off the bat. You're kind of paying for it in pieces. And so it's a little, the cost is lower than a traditional book. So we're proud of that too. And I know that you are very intentional in involving our deaf community in a variety of ways, from interviews to community judges. Can you talk some about their unique contribution and why you bring them on campus?
So unfortunately, deaf people have a lot of systemic barriers, just because it comes from a lack of knowledge. People think, oh, they're deaf, so they can't do this and this and this and this. And I'm going to say guilty. I have cousins that are deaf. I grew up with them. But even then, I had this preconceived notion that they were limited until I took my college courses. And I was completely, blown away by there are deaf doctors, lawyers, superintendents out there. It's amazing. And so I think that we do that beautifully in our classes, but to bring those people into on our campus and to show our students, hey, this is so and so. He has a master's degree from this college. Oh, this lady here, she's a certified deaf interpreter, which is really hard to do. But she lives right here in Houston, and here she is. So I think that not only was the sign language competition an educational purpose, but I think it served as like a professional artistic sort of bridge for our students to see, oh, wow, these are impressive people. Just on their own, not just because they're deaf, but because they are deaf, it kind of solidifies what we're teaching in the classroom.
Absolutely. And, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, Roxann, but I had the opportunity to meet Haben Yirma, and she is deaf and blind. She's a lawyer. And when she spoke, one of the things that really struck me was she connected disability innovation, and she said that disability is an opportunity for innovation. And she never asks she never says, I can't do something. She always says, how can I do this thing? And I think that's just so beautiful. Why does visibility, representation, and accessible events matter for the deaf community?
So I think it just comes to educating. So it's funny, in the deaf world, we're called the hearing people. So it's educating hearing people on what deaf people are capable of. We're actually going to have a workshop next week at HCC Central for job skills training. And it would be someone like me, a hearing person who is fluent in ASL, and I go into, let's say a deaf person got hired as a nurse. And so we would go in there and train not the deaf person, but train the environment on how to make sure that they are successful, because it's moments like that that we elevate and catapult the deaf community. A lot of deaf community people are mostly occupied in, at least here in Houston, in positions, if it's not education, it's typically like at a warehouse, which nothing wrong with that. Great. There are contributing members to society, but some of them, I think deep down, they know that they could do more, which our ASL tutor, Carlos, who works with us, he's deaf. He worked for Amazon for a long time, and we brought him on. And he truly feels like his knowledge and skills are being used the way they're supposed to. So I think just bringing those people, as many as we can, as diverse as we can, for our students, because we don't know where our students are going to go. They might be the head of a deaf ed program one day and remember, oh, I remember Carlos. Let me see if Carlos can come here for this event or this position. So it's really just getting people connected. That's really our job. The hearing and the deaf, we want them connected, and we want HCC to be that bridge for them.
Yes, it's so beautiful. And we have unfortunately run out of time, so I have to let you go. But I want to thank you so much for coming and speaking to us today and sharing all that wonderful information. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you for joining us on the topic. If you enjoy the show, follow us on Facebook and YouTube as at Houston Community College District. To listen to the topic and more HCC TV programming, visit hccs.edu/podcasts. For the topic on HCC TV, I'm Dr. Amy Tan.